Welcome to Allies or Enemies. I'm Jess.
And I am Shawn, and this is our big year-end wrap-up, and we got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Some channel updates, some life updates, a whole bunch of statistics for you, some of our favorite gaming experiences. We got a lot of stuff to get to, so let's just get to it.
So starting with life updates is we are moving. So if you don't know, we currently live in London, UK, and we are moving up to Edinburgh.
I think only Canadians would specify London, UK, because we've got one in Ontario. No one knows about it, but we got our own little London. But yeah, so we're moving up to Edinburgh. We're going to be up in Scotland. We're moving there pretty quickly, so there's a little gap and stuff. Don't worry, we haven't gone away. We're just heading off to the Highlands.
And we don't quite know what our setup is going to be there, so we're hoping we'll be in a space that it will work a little bit better, but we don't know.
We have no idea. So what that is going to look like for content, we'll have content, we'll have stuff coming out. We're just not sure what that's going to look like, and we're not sure about it because we're moving up there because Jess has got a very cool new job. I, however, don't right now. So if you're hiring, reach out to me. That's only kind of half a joke, but we're moving up there. So I don't know what I'm doing. So I may have a lot more time to make content than she does. So you may see a lot more solo playthroughs, that sort of thing on the channel.
Yeah, so there might be some switches as well, because not only solo playthroughs, we might look at other lists. We are thinking about maybe doing a Patreon, and if we do that, we'd love to know what kinds of things you'd be interested in.
Yeah, and do folks like Patreon? Do they like other things? We want to make sure that whatever it is we're doing, we're not taking away from what we're already doing in the channel. So we want not just what we've done, but hopefully more than what we've been doing so far. We're not sure what that's going to look like. It is really going to depend on how the space works out once we move all of our stuff in there. So you'll know more about that in the next few months.
And the other thing that we might know more about or we might not know more about is you've been busy designing games this past year.
Yeah, so I've got a whole bunch. I've got about a half a dozen designs that are kind of bouncing around, talking to some people about. So I might publish with a publisher. I might self-publish. We said this was an update. This is a lot of us saying we don't know. But I've got a whole bunch of games out there that people are looking at, and I may have updates on that. I will in one way or another. Either I'll be working with someone else or I'll be doing it myself.
Or a mix of both.
And I may well be reaching out to folks to see if people want to play test on TTS or if you're in Scotland in real life too. So there may be a bunch more coming up with that too.
Now, looking back to the year, we had a whole bunch of highlights, and I think top of the list is it was the first time we finally made it to the Essen Spiel.
Yeah, and that was, people tell you how big it is, but holy cow, it's huge. It's 6 halls that are just 100% packed. It was 4 days. We filled all of our days. We were there first thing, we left last thing. We filled every single minute of every single day, and we're still hearing about games that people are like, oh, did you play this? Oh, I played that at Essen. And we're thinking, we didn't even see that table. It's amazing how big it is.
Yeah, it was a really neat experience. And we had a whole bunch of media meetings as well. And that was one of the first times we actually had a whole bunch of media meetings, which was really cool. And so many games that still aren't available in the UK yet that we got a chance to play, got a chance to bring back, which was really cool. So it's something we're definitely going to try and keep going to every year.
Yeah, and then another highlight was just working with meeting and talking to and working with other channels as well. We got to play some games at AirCon with Naveen from Before You Play. That was a delight. And then Board Game Ramblings invited us to do their year-end. And that's been really cool, being a little bit more involved in the community. That was a big highlight, I think, this year.
Yeah, and even some random occurrences too, because on the way back from Essen, we ended up sat next to Libby from Box Meeple, which was really cool. So again, just recognizing people and getting them more involved has been something we want to try and do more of as well.
And it's the first year people saw us and said hello to us, and you don't know how much that means. So if you see us at things next year, please come. You won't be bugging us. Come bug us, but we will be delighted to say hello and play games with anyone. That has really been just the community and being more part of the community. It's been a huge highlight.
Another highlight is just thinking about best gaming experiences, and there have been just a ton of great games that have come out this year. So it's hard to pick one, but I think if I had to pick one, I would go with Dwarf Romantic. And I specifically wanted to mention it because I really wanted to put it on the best of our list for 2023. But officially it came out in 2022. So I didn't get a chance to talk about it and how much I loved it. So I'm mentioning it now is I loved playing through the cooperative, chill, tile laying game of Dwarf Romantic.
And you don't know how much of a debate that was, whether or not we allowed those late 2022 games onto the 2023 list. And we said, no, hard line, there were too many good 2023 games. For me, I think my gaming highlight this year was we played Scout at a friend's wedding. It's just really fun to play a game in that sort of situation. They're moving all the tables and playing like Celebration Time, and the old folks are dancing. And there's just a bunch, it was a board game design friend, so there's just a bunch of us playing Scout in the corner, and that was a really fun time. Such a great game to play with a group of people like that. So I think for me, that was probably my gaming highlight of the whole year.
And speaking of gaming experiences, there are a couple of games that we got only in the past week that would have made a couple of our recent gaming lists.
Yeah, for some reason, people gave us a bunch of games. Just like last week. It was like we just got a whole bunch just put under this tree. It was crazy.
And so one of those was one that people recommended to us as a really good two-player game when we did our top 10 games for 2 players, and that was Botanic. And everybody, you were right.
Yeah, Santa brought us Botanic, and it is fantastic. We've played it like 10 times already since Christmas, and yeah, it's so good. Everyone I think commented. We asked people, what's your favorite two-player game we missed? And that was on like 15 out of 15 comments. And so we're like, we gotta get it. And yeah, you're 100% right.
Yeah, if we were to remake the list today, it would definitely be on it. And then the other one is a top game of the year, and that is Voidfall.
Yeah, I almost wish because we were going to wait till the end of the year, and then we thought, no, we've got what we're going to get for 2023. Let's just do it. And then my dad got me Voidfall, and it is tremendous. It is so, so good. It would be like a top 3 for me. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I would feel about it, but it is really good, and it's not what I expected seeing it set up on the table. It looks like a very big space game, but it's a very Euro, very deterministic combat type of game. And in terms of 2023, let's take a look at stats. And so we have played 1,000 games this year.
Exactly. We were at 998, and then just before this, we played 2 more games of Strike, so we could say officially exactly 1,000 games.
And we were filming this on the 29th, so we'll probably end up a little bit more by the end of the year. And of those games, 85% were played at 2 players. That makes sense. We do tend to play largely at 2 players.
That's the least amount of 2 players that we've had, though. So previous years, that has been basically almost 100%. But we made a few friends this year.
And so we have 7% were 4 players, 3% were 3 players, and 3% were solo. So I guess that means I played slightly less than 1,000 games.
Yeah, that is, because every time we review a game, I play the solo mode, and I got really into Final Girl this year, and we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second too. And that 1,000 games is actually a little bit of a lie because there was a lot of playtesting this year. So there were a lot more than 1,000, but 1,000 published games. And of that, there are 314 different games, 128 new to us games. Most of those would be 2023, but a few old ones like Kalis was a real standout for me.
Yeah, we played about 55% of our gaming collection, and we own probably about 350 games, so a decent amount, over half. But moving on to what our most played games of 2023 were. And going in order, our most played game was Strike. Not a surprise, it plays very quickly. Then we have Dwarf Romantic, My Island, Final Girl, which was basically just you.
I think you played 1 game of that maybe.
Yep, and then The Crew.
And then, interestingly though, if you go by time, and I think that's probably more interesting because if you just go by plays, it's always going to be those quick games. But Board Game Stats actually kind of figures out for you how long you've played a game over the course of the year. So I'm actually going to count mine down because that's the way this is usually done. So at number 5 is Final Girl. At number 4, Hegemony, and honestly, that's like 3 games of Hegemony. At number 3, that's Village Big Box. Number 2 is Frosthaven, and at number 1 is Dwarf Romantic.
But I think that's everything we wanted to talk about for 2023. We'll have a couple more videos filmed here in London, and then we'll be up in our new space in Scotland. So we'll see how that looks.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be weird. There's gonna be bagpipes in the background. I'm very excited to be in Scotland, to have a different, new, exciting experience, and hopefully you guys are part of that too. So that is it, and we will see you next year.
Thank you so much for watching. Please let us know in the comments what your favorite gaming experience or gaming experience in general was last year. And as usual, please like, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you next time for another game.